Early spring is a great time of year to get out, stretch your legs, and fish for bluegills, crappies, and perch, whatever's biting. It's beautiful out here. The sun is shining, birds are chirping, the migratory birds are back. What better time to be out fishing? What's up, guys? I'm Cade Laufenberg here once again on behalf of Mystery Tackle Box. Today we're going to be taking you back just a little bit. We're going to be talking about bluegills, crappies, perch, pan fishing during the early spring season. In the background here, we got ice and we've got open water. We've got a mix of the two, and basically the ice is just going off our lakes. The water temperature is really cold, but this is one of my favorite times of year. Growing up as a kid, I spent a lot of time pan fishing, and it's the little things that you learn from fishing for bluegills and crappies, perch, that teach you how to be a better angler overall, and you can target those bigger fish like bass, walleyes, and northerns when you get a little more accustomed to what a bite feels like. Being out here, you see there's birds flying around, you start to notice patterns within patterns. You know, you see geese coming back to the area, they're nesting, and you start to make connections with, okay, the geese are nesting, that means the fish should be doing this. And over time, you just start to adapt and you can grow as an angler. And we're gonna be talking a lot about that today. I'm gonna start out, I'm gonna be fishing a little bit on the shore. We're gonna go through some of the baits that I got from Mystery Tackle Box, and then we'll hop in the boat and we'll take a look at our electronics and we'll see if we can pinpoint where some of these crappies and bluegills are hanging out just after ice out. So stay tuned, you don't wanna miss this. So if you're a kid watching this at home, take it from me, all you need is some fishing gear. I got my Daiwa rod and reel combo here, a backpack, and a bicycle. All you gotta do is put this rod and all your tackle in the backpack, throw it on the back and get on the bicycle, and the world is your oyster, man. That's what I did growing up, 12 to 14 years old, before I had a driver's license and before I had my own boat. And I was a shore fishing king, just riding around the backwaters of the Mississippi River, catching panfish all day long. We're gonna go through some of the baits I got in my box this week and check them out. They're going to be really good in the month of April and May all around the country. The bluegills and crappies are going to be setting up pre-spawn, and you'll start to find them getting shallow. I've got the Yum Money Fry. It's basically just a really micro swim bait, and that's going to be really good for crappies and perch, basically the panfish species that feed on small minnows. I would just rig this up on a real small jig head, one with a 90-degree hook angle. That's going to be very important to the action of the bait, and just put this under a slip bobber, or if you like, fishing on real light line and just let it drift over those flats real slow, just ticking the bottom. That's going to pick up some large fish right there. The next thing I got here in my box, it's the Reality Shad Buffet rig. It's made by Roadrunner. Basically it's a pretty cool, innovative little rig, similar to the umbrella rig that we're familiar with in bass fishing and saltwater fishing. Basically, it's just two Roadrunners, and it's going to look like two fleeing bait fish. Here I've got the Stanley Ribbit Runt. It's basically a miniature spinnerbait with a Colorado blade and a soft plastic toad style, you know, just a micro toad basically with a twin tail on it. This thing's going to put off a lot of thump and vibration and really trigger those big crappies out of heavy cover. I'm going to slow roll this around vegetation and laydowns, you know, basically anything that those big crappies are hanging out in pre-spawn where the sun's hitting on. This is going to be a great bait when that water temperature gets up into the mid to upper 40s. So look for this to become a big producer for you later on this spring. Here I've got the T-turn bait rig. This is a pretty cool little deal. It's basically a pre-rigged double drop shot. It's got a little snap swivel. You can just hook your weight right on there, and then you've got two separate hooks. Obviously check with your regulations and make sure that you can fish with two hooks on one line. That's legal here in Minnesota and Wisconsin. So I'm just gonna rig that up. I can either put live bait on it, or I can use one of these, the Money Fry. That'll be a great bait on this here, or any other little small plastic bait. I'm gonna fish this either under a slip bobber or straight up vertical, and that's gonna be a really good way to catch fish out of brush, offshore rock piles, any kind of stuff like that, where you're fishing straight up and down over top of schooling fish. So it's early spring, we're out here in a small lake. What I've got here, the reason I chose this spot, we've got a large point that splits this lake into two sections. On the left, we've got deep water. On the right, we've got a shallow bay that's filled with fresh green vegetation. And one thing I've learned over the years from pan fishing and bass fishing, all different kinds of fishing all together, is that when the water temperatures are really cold and it starts to warm up in the spring, the fish like to go shallow. They get as shallow as possible and get up in that green vegetation and sun themselves. So as you can see, we've still got a little bit of ice here in the background, but these fish are going to sit on a place like this with a point in that deeper water, and as soon as that ice comes off, they'll be eager and ready to move right up there and get shallow and start sunning themselves and feeding heavily. Well, it took a while, but we finally got one in the boat. It's a little baby bluegill there, but you know, the thing about a bluegill is it doesn't matter how big they are. When you're a kid growing up getting into fishing, that's most likely the first fish that most children in the United States of America are going to catch right there. There we go, there's one, baby. Look at that. Oh yeah. Nice pretty bluegill. Oh, I love watching that bobber go down. Look at that fish, just beautiful. Huh. So I just caught this fish on the Lucky John trick worm. It's a 2-inch little bait there. You can see it's just a straight up white color. It's got a little tail to it. Just got it rigged up on a VMC half moon jig. And that's the result right there. Nice, you know, quality eater size crappie, 10.5, 11-inch fish. So I'm gonna get it back and try to catch another one. But what I'm doing here, I pulled up next to this weed flat. It's 3 or 4 foot on top, and it drops off sharply into 14, 15 foot of water. The fish are just sitting right on that break. So I'm taking my bait, throwing it out there. I got some light line with the, I've got braided line to a light fluorocarbon leader. It's really key, it gives me a lot of sensitivity. And I'm just drifting that bait over that drop off. And as soon as I hit the drop off of the weeds there, I'm getting fish to pick up on it. So this is the result. I'm gonna get it back and try to catch another one. So we're all wrapped up, came off the water today. It was a fairly successful day. We found some bluegills and crappies. Wasn't as easy as I expected. You know, the water temperatures were real cold in that 36 to 38 degree range, and the fish just weren't as active as I thought they'd be. They were pretty deep, so we had to go to vertical presentations, and so I did get to work through everything in my mystery tackle box bait selections. But yeah, so check these baits out, put them to use.